Hello everyone, I'm Mark Zane and welcome to Zane Investment Solutions. Please take a moment to pause this video and review the following disclaimer. Thank you for that. Welcome to week 13 of the Forex market review. We're going to go and jump onto the charts and I'll have a look at two currency pairs to see how they're progressing and see where we can get into the market and likely areas where a trade may go. Now, let's jump to the charts. Today we're going to start on the Aussie USD weekly chart. As you can see in the top left corner of my chart, we have the Aussie USD on the weekly time frame, and we like to start on the higher time frame just so we know which way the market's trending. We discussed the Aussie USD about 2 weeks ago, so let's see if it's progressed any further and what's happening in the markets. What we can see initially on our move is this very large AO down the bottom here, which we like to determine as the wave 3 analysis. So what we're going to do is go ahead and start dropping on some text just to show you where roughly the wave cycles are and how you can identify them. Now wave 3 is the easiest identifiable, and that's because it's the first large AO, and that's how we identify wave 3. So as we can see, the start of wave 3 is roughly around there. Somewhere around here is the start of wave 3, so we can say all of this is wave 3. And now we're making our wave 4 move back higher. But we don't know wave 4 has ended until we come back to the zero line. So what we want to see is this AO come back to the zero line. So the AO come all the way back to the zero line. We then move up and we look left and we find the lowest point in this example, because the lowest point is on this down trending move lower. So what we can also see after this wave 4, we now want to see an A, B, C cycle back higher. So it looks like we're finishing our wave A cycle, and to see roughly how high we think wave 3 will go, we believe it should generally come to around the 50% Fibonacci level. So if I go ahead and drop in a line around about the 50% mark there, that's roughly where we think it should come back to. Zoom out on the chart, and as you can see, we do have some history of where it's bouncing. So roughly around those areas where it's likely to stop. So this, I'll just draw one just slightly lower, and it could find some resistance around that area. So there's the two areas we'll be looking at going short again on a weekly time frame. Let's now drop down to the daily chart. And as you can see, all this movement was wave 3, and we're going back up for wave 4. And what we can see is we sort of have some divergence. I mean, if you look at the numbers, it definitely is divergence back to zero line and is a lower AO, so we do have divergence. So that's a good indication that that move lower with a lower low and a higher AO, that has definitely finished on the divergence time frame. Moving higher, we look like we have a wave 3, and it's possibly this could be moving back higher, but because this is an A leg, it could be finding resistance anywhere around these areas, ready for its move back lower down for the B leg, and then back up for the C leg. And we know for our wave counts that A equals C. So if we use our Fibonacci Expansion tool and we were to predict that the wave was to come roughly back down to here, the pullback, then you can see the 100% level is roughly near the Fibonacci 50% level on the weekly time frame. So that's the weekly time frame. This is the one we just drew in, the Fibonacci expansion level. So if A equals C, we could expect the move to come back up into this resistance area. We would be looking at going lower. So just go ahead and I'll delete those indicators there. Drop down to the 4-hour chart. What we can see is divergence. So we have a higher high in price with a lower AO. So now that we see this higher high in price with this AO coming back to zero line and back up being lower, we can say that it's very likely that this move higher has now ended and we are making our push back lower. This large move right here overnight, that's just where Janet Yellen turned around and said that the Fed is well within their rights, or have made a good decision to hold off on increasing interest rates. So where others may be assuming there's going to be an interest rate hike next month, she's probably sort of squashed that, and the market's rallied back higher. But I'm not too afraid there. I know it's got a wave B pullback on the daily time frame, so I'm just looking for an opportunity. I have technically my divergence, so I'm just saying, well, this is A, B, C, so down for 1, up for 2, and we're going to be coming down for 3. So this is what I'm roughly seeing, and I believe is going to happen. So I'm not really care about the announcement. All I really care is I haven't really entered the market short at the moment, and I'm not going to enter short at this stage, and definitely not if it breaks these highs. I'll definitely want to re-look at it. But at the moment, we're looking the market to want to be pulling back down. So if we've got resistance around these areas, which we can see, so you can see this line here, I'll just go ahead and draw another one in roughly around there. You can see it's hit in those resistance areas. So I'm pretty confident it's not going to break there. So I really want to break down, get into the market and make it move back lower, ready to get down to these levels. So looking probably for, risking 200 to 250 pips to make it at least 400 pips. So you're looking at close to 1 to 2 you can make on this trade lower. Drop down to the 1 hour chart, and obviously this is that move on the 4 hour chart, and it definitely looked like we could be, maybe it might want to just struggle that little bit higher, could want to come down and just struggle that little bit higher. But the main thing, we can't break the high of wave 1. So for this to be a 1, 2 coming down for 3, wave 2 can come all the way back into wave 1 territory. It just can't break the highs. So if it breaks the highs, this definitely wasn't wave 2 pullback, and then we have to reassess the charts. Let's go ahead and jump onto the pound CAD. Again, pound CAD starting on the weekly chart. Looking at what's happening here, looks like it's made its final move higher and it's moving back lower. So it's a good assumption that we possibly could be in a wave 3 lower on the weekly time frame. Now it's still very early to tell, as we indicated on the other chart with the wave analysis. We want to see the first largest AO, which we're seeing here, but we don't know wave 3 has ended until it's come back all the way to the zero line. So this is very likely this could just continue all the way down to probably that area there would be my first guess. I'd be dropping in roughly around there. Let's just zoom out of the chart, and as you can see, it has bounced a few times there, and it's likely anywhere in between is likely where the trade could reverse. So I believe wave 3 probably could come all the way down. So that's wave 3. Jump down to the daily chart, and in the daily chart, I'll just go remove those so they don't go ahead and confuse us. We also have wave 3 lower, and this wave 3 is definitely coming back to the zero line. So as you can see, wave 1, the pullback higher for wave 2, and it's wave 3 move back lower. Go ahead, grab your Fibonacci retracement tool from the highs to the lows. We're expecting to pull back to the 50% mark. As you can see, it matches up with this resistance area. So wouldn't be surprised if somewhere within this band, we'll put it slightly higher, somewhere within this band, we're probably going to find some resistance. But again, we don't know this wave 3 is ended until it comes back to the zero line. It hasn't done that yet, so we can't look up, look left and pick the lows. But we can definitely keep an eye on it. What we can do, however, is jump down to the 4 hour chart and see divergence. And in this case we do with our lower low in price and our higher AO. So as you can see, AO's come back to zero line. It's made a higher AO with a lower price, so we do have divergence. So it's very likely that this wave 3 has ended and we're going to see a move higher. So let's just watch that. We probably want it to see it come up, find some resistance roughly around this area here, and then push back lower and then make its final move back up higher. So that's what we're looking for. Let's see if that occurs on this chart here. Excuse me, and we'll see where market can go. Just jump down to the 1 hour for the final look at the chart. We have our move higher, so definitely we are seeing some divergence again on the 1 hour chart. Higher high in price with a lower AO, so it's likely that it possibly won't move much higher than where it is now. So it's likely it could want to have its bit of a pullback and then it's pushed back higher. But all this small move here on the lower time frame will be the wave A move higher on the daily time frame. And then once it has its pullback and then its final move back lower all the way down, that would be looking at ending the wave 3 on the weekly chart. So by looking at a higher time frame and moving your way down each step of the chart, we can see all the wave cycles, patterns and divergence, and we can clearly see where the market could be reversing and then taking in an opportunity in that direction. So at this stage, if you wanted to trade the pound CAD, you'd be looking at it keeping the support area at the moment, breaking some resistance, coming back in, finding that support, buying it there, putting stop loss at its low and riding it up to these levels up here, risking 1 to make double. So always risk less than what you're going to make. That way you don't have to worry about how many times you win to be successful. And these indicators right here, that's just a dynamic support and resistance indicator from one of our affiliate partners that goes ahead and draws these support and resistance levels in. So I've gone and used my eye, but as you can see, they're matching up with these areas here, and there was another one down here. So if you like this tool, it's easy while you're practicing to understand support and resistance. So I hope you enjoyed the week 13 of the Forex market review and you're really getting an understanding of wave analysis and divergence, along with the retracement, Fibonacci retracement and Fibonacci expansion. All of these are great tools to use to identify support and resistance areas, then predict where the market will go, and then based on that prediction and using history and back testing, you can then use it to your advantage. And by risking less than what you're trying to make, you don't need a good success rate. You can have a 40% success rate and still make money. So hope you're practicing, hope you're trying it out, hope you're really understanding everything and making some success in your trading. Because here at Sane Investment Solutions, we want to wish you all the best in your success. Take care. Bye-bye.